It's 10 minutes to go before we wrap up the first hour of today here on eNCA. If you've just joined us, a warm welcome to you. My name is William Lahong. There are just 5 Black African women practicing as neurosurgeons, with the first graduating as recently as 2013. Now, neurosurgery is a challenging field for women to enter because it carries the perception as a males-only profession. So how can these figures be improved? To unpack this further, I'm joined by spinal surgeon Lusanda Bomela. A very warm welcome to today and a good afternoon to you, doctor. Why is there such a big difference in numbers in as far as the male counterparts compared to the female doctors in neurosurgery?
Just to give a bit of clarity is when it comes to spine, there's 2 specializations, which is the neurosurgery, which is brain and spine. That's the discipline they deal with. And there's also spine orthopedics, which is you are dealing with the bone as well as the spine itself.
Sure.
So the disparity would be similar in both disciplines in that they tend to be male-dominated fields, and the females have been breaking through, and slowly we are getting the numbers. But when it comes to orthopedics, which is what I am a qualified orthopedic surgeon who specializes in spine, the numbers are much less. And most people tend to think of spine and go to a neurosurgeon, not being aware that an orthopedic surgeon also does spine. So if you do that combination, we can increase the numbers.
I appreciate that clarity, doctor. Why is the number so much less in your specific field?
I think it's people not having the knowledge, honestly speaking, and the preconceptions that they have, that something like orthopedics or spine is a male thing. That's where then I come in to make the community aware, to make the students aware, to make medical students aware as well. Because if you can start at areas like from high school, for them to know that females are doing spine. Females can be neurosurgeons or orthopedics. It doesn't have to be a male-dominated field.
Would it perhaps the perception be from the outside looking in that it's an intimidating space to operate in because you are dealing with, and this is my uneducated just knowledge, nerves of the spine? Anything at any time could go wrong, and you'd want to be absolutely at your best. So that could intimidate a medical student who's willing to give in the 7 or 8 years to be within the space. But then when you tell them that this is now what you'll be doing as an orthopedic surgeon, they tend to be like, maybe it's not for me. What have you found? What has been your assessment?
It's true, you've got to have reverence for the spine. It is not something that just anybody can get into, in that you have to think on your feet. You've got to be brave. You've got to obviously know what you're dealing with, because it's not just a science. There's an art to it, and there is fast thinking, there's technique, and obviously preparation. And it is true grueling as well, because the challenges come in suddenly, although you can prepare beforehand. But if you catch a nerve or the spinal cord, as you said, there's always that thing, what if the patient is paralyzed, and living with that. But we want to dispel that.
Sure.
That's where I then come in, that, listen, if you're brave enough to have done the specialization and also have been taught, and you have a group of either mentors or academic people that you actually speak to, then, you know, anything is possible. It really is.
I love that. And you've accomplished so much already within that time period. Talk to me about some of the career highlights that are top of mind right now.
Sure. I've done quite a bit. Top of the mind, I am the first AO spine trained female orthopedic spine surgeon. This is an internationally recognized fellowship that is based at UCT. For the past 10 years, I am the only female, not just South African, but female. As of March now, we have one French lady who has joined.
Right.
So that is also something where you want to make people aware that there is such things like fellowships like this, where it can broaden your skill as well as broaden exposure to mentors. I am also the first Black Smith and Fellow, traveling fellow. This is an orthopedic fellowship whereby you go through the country, different universities, presenting research, presenting cases that you have done as well. And I am also the first female South African stroke German fellowship trained traveling fellow as well. I did that in 2015. And the first head of department of orthopedics in Kalafong, a tertiary hospital. I was heading a department for 3 years.
Congratulations, Doctor, and incredible work that you're doing. I almost want to ask you, I mean, I imagine there's a case that has stayed with you throughout time. The moment when you would have wanted to save a life and things didn't go your way. Does that happen in your specialization?
Yes, it does. It does. That injury to a nerve, injury to a spine, or even losing a patient on the actual bed as you are operating, it does happen. Yeah. Preparation is key. Obviously having the knowledge, having the discussions, but as I always explain to the patients, as prepared as you can be, in medicine, complications occur. Sure. And you need to be aware of the complications and know what you can do about it. But at times, there are things that are beyond even the surgeon's, a prepared surgeon's abilities, yes. So Doctor, I've had one or two of those.
Listen, thank you so much for making the time to just share the knowledge with us here on eNCA. We appreciate you. That was spinal surgeon Dr. Lusanda Bomela here on Today. That wraps up the